Well, that's a hell of a way to start off episode 23 of Ships and Giggles. How you doing, everybody? It's business. Yep, Zao AP, nasty, nasty. And you're going to see, just constantly see more and more of these types of videos and clips that I just love showing you guys that type of stuff. It's awesome. I don't know how the next patch with the lowering of the Citadel on the Iowa and Montana, which I will get to later, is going to affect that. I would hope that I could still do that. I mean, the Alabama seems susceptible enough as it is to Citadels from various ships, and I think I've actually done it with the Zao. I just can't quite remember, and kind of disappointed in that salvo. I was hoping for a lot more, but I definitely aimed way too high. And obviously in this situation, I've already resigned myself to death. I just didn't expect these guys to all push north during the cyclone here. So just looking for a soft target, go for the Bismarck, because for whatever reason, I cannot do shit to the side of a Montana. So if there's a German BB around, I'll throw my shells down range at him instead. But yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how that all works out. The Iowa was definitely in need of some sort of assistance, but I'm not really convinced that the Montana needed anything at all. And we'll get to that later, but what I want to just talk about for a couple minutes, and strictly the only reason I'm going to discuss this at all, and I do not really ever want to talk about this again, because I think it's really reached certain levels of ridiculous that it's gotten out of hand, is the whole thing with Sir Foch in World of Tanks. I can't believe I just said World of Tanks. World of Tanks and Wargaming. You know, he's a community contributor over there, and he put up a particular video regarding the Chrysler K Tier 8 super heavy tank that has certainly rustled some jimmies. Now, let me just say, first things first, everybody's pretty much lost sight of what that video was actually about, and it's about the fact that Wargaming has got this cycle of things going on where now tanks are being introduced without any real weak spots. It can't be frontally penned by any tank without using the premium ammunition, and thus people make less credits, so they buy more premium time to try to maximize their earning potential in other ways, blah blah blah. And also the gun on the tank is generally not that effective, or not as effective as it should be, because it has horribly low shell pen, so it needs to use premium ammo. So you can obviously see the cycle of things there that's feeding the idea that the game is probably in a pretty shitty spot right now. And I say that because I mean, Wargaming is a company, yeah, they gotta make profit, but they're basically destroying their own game to do it. And then situations like this really, really do not help them in the slightest. I mean, do you really think they're gaining anything from this whole situation? No, of course not. It's just bad publicity. And, you know, there's the whole saying, oh yeah, any publicity is good publicity. No. Not really. Not when you're long in the tooth game that has a lot of, like, core mechanic issues and is being overrun completely by overpowered premiums. Nah, I'm sorry, that's just not the case. So when you're looking at Sir Foch's position, community contributor, his video description is, you know, not the title, but, you know, the video description is "fuck Wargaming," and so on and so forth. Yeah, there's going to be some repercussions for that. Do I think they had any right to go for the big one, the copyright strike? No, not necessarily, but it also kind of sheds light on the fact that there needs to be some sort of middle ground here. So if they contacted him and said, hey, can you make this video unlisted while we try to work with you on the problem, and if you don't, if we can't reach an amicable agreement, then, you know, we do our thing, you know, and maybe we look into this or that. I don't know, just basically try to localize the problem, deal with it, and if you can't come to an agreement, then okay, let's take the next step. And, you know, if there's actual defamation, if there's actual legal issues, issue the copyright strike. In this instance, I don't know if there were. I'm not a lawyer, and I sure as hell don't know nearly enough about it, and neither does anybody else out there, apparently, because everybody's talking about this shit like they're fucking copyright lawyers and stuff. I mean, it's the internet. Of course there's going to be a drastic overreaction to basically anything. So, but ultimately, the thing is, Fosh was right. He is absolutely 100% right with what he said, but the way he said it could have been a bit different. And I say that only in the sense that he's the CC. He could have just gone about things a little differently and said, you know what, fuck this, I'm out of the CC program, and none of this would have happened, right? But it's because of the, I guess, the aggression that was throughout the video. The fact that it was a really short video, so he didn't really go into things. He didn't essentially calm himself down, that sort of thing, over time while discussing the video, that it resulted in what it did. So I don't think people should really be blowing up nearly as much about it as well, simply for the fact that they don't make a living off of YouTube. If you're not making a living off of YouTube, you don't really have all that much of a concern about it. And I'm completely serious about that, because one, with all the ad revenues shit that's changed in the last couple months or whatever with YouTube, I can't tell you how hard it would be to actually make a living nowadays. And not only that, you have to be fucking huge to make a living off of YouTube. You know, I understand where Fosh is coming from with that. Like, I'd be shocked if Wargaming was like, you know, in response to the mic drop video or whatever, they went ahead and tried to issue something like that to me. Which, honestly, considering the fact that they didn't, and they didn't even mention anything to me at all, who am I to say anything bad about what they do then, right? You know, I mean, I basically put one of their CCs on blast, and again, everybody seems to kind of, you know, take a 60-second blurb of a 20-plus minute video and make that the only thing the video was about, and obviously lose sight of what I was actually saying. You know, whatever, that's how it goes. Basically, it just, people are trying to make a much bigger deal out of this, and I think the real thing is that when you make a company, I mean, or anything, any entity or person, whatever the case may be, look bad, and it's easy to make them look bad and make them look like the bad guy who's, you know, got their thumb on the little guy who's, you know, trying to do his thing and just trying to get by. It's really easy to keep it going. It's really easy to just keep stacking up the hatred and, you know, oh yeah, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that with them, you know, fuck this company, fuck that, I'm not going to see their movie or play their game anymore, or whatever the hell. You know, it's just too easy for all of that, and I don't really care. You know, I said all that shit about this game, and I came back to it. I mean, I don't really care. I mean, that's part of the reason why I came back to it, is simply because I changed my mindset. I know I'm not going to maintain a given win rate anymore. I stopped giving a shit about that, and now I'm back playing the game. I mean, that's one of the many, many reasons. But it's just not that big a deal. And not only that, it's a bigger deal for the people who are actually directly involved with it. You know, the people who are making a living off of wargaming stuff, as far as their YouTube and, you know, using YouTube and also Twitch and whatnot. But really, I think you guys can put the pitchforks down and relax a bit. It's just let it die, let it move on. Let Wargaming hopefully learn from their mistake, and hopefully everybody else learn from this too. And then we can just relax and go back to, you know, beating the shit out of each other in video games. Yeah. Now, admittedly, that went on a bit longer than I had anticipated, but yeah, I just want to not talk about that anymore. I don't care. So, great salvo there against the enemy Montana. I was holding my breath there, waiting for that salvo to drop, and ended up doing like 50 plus thousand damage, so I was pretty happy with that. Big shout out to that guy there who helped smoke me up. His name, I think it was Zabidi. So there's another guy in this match, Chrysler61, who I've seen a lot lately in these high tier games, and he smokes me up here in a moment, but there's some other things that are happening here that kind of important. Obviously I've run into a shitstorm here on the right flank. That's a lot of ships, and they're very, very dangerous, and I don't want to have any part of that. So for me to get out of that situation with just a torp in my rear, like a torp to the rear of the ship, I'm pretty happy with that. So as you saw there, he did try to smoke me up, but I didn't notice it until late, and I couldn't come to a stop. So might as well just see if I can get on the flanks of these guys a little bit, maybe get a little bit more effective fire. 16,000 damage into the bulk of a curve first, I think is pretty damn good considering the angle. And a super rare occasion here for me. My first devastating strike with the Montana against a Zao. I've actually never done that before, and holy shit was I happy about it. So these guys did manage a good push, they just didn't go through the way they should, and damn, I mean, the way that Hindenburg AP comes in is amazing. It's so fast, but take a look at this. The worst dispersion for 2 Citadels that I may have ever seen. That is awkward. So, I wanted to just say, though, when it comes to the upcoming patch, I really don't think the Montana needs any assistance whatsoever. The Iowa, the Missouri, yes, they need to have their Citadels lowered because they're incredibly vulnerable. But the tier 10 battleships all have a distinct playing style. They all have their differences and their characteristics, and I'm making a mistake here by not moving forward. I should have been moving forward a hell of a lot earlier, and I think I actually start coming to a stop here, or reversing or whatever. But I'm not aiming nearly far enough ahead, and that really sucked because I could have two-shot this guy. I mean, still, you know, good damage, but not what I could have done. And you may see the damage total at the top there, 245,000. I came to the south here. I had a couple battleships on my backside, and I had to pretty much make a beeline towards the edge of the map as I dealt with an Eddie, a Zao, and the North Carolina as well. So, you know, 254,000 damage in the loss. Ugh. I think that's my second worst, like in terms of highest damage, because my highest damage was 292,000 with the curve first. I lost, so but this is also why you smoke up for your team, by the way. This guy, he said he was coming back to help us out by laying a nice smoke trail across the top part of the cap here as we try to deal with these guys. But it may give you opportunities, or may give your teammates opportunities to do things that they otherwise may not be able to do. Because if this guy knew for sure that I was aiming at him and that I had fired, I'm pretty damn sure he would not have turned like this. Because that's nearly his entire health pool. Holy shit. I've never done that much damage to in one salvo to an Amagi. That's crazy. That ship is so trolly to me, except for that one time. So, and it's not just any given ship that needs to be vigilant, but I mean, Yamato sure as hell need to be vigilant too, because that side armor is just terrible. And the curve first just doesn't like other battleships. It wants to beat everybody up. It does a pretty good job with it. But when it comes to the curve first, you know, it's obviously the brawler of the group. You know, very, very resilient to Citadels. I've been able to manage 40,000 damage Citadel against it. 40,000 damage Citadel salvo against it with the curve first on this map. Actually, I think it was like 19 kilometers away, and every time that I Citadel the curve first, it's in the front half of the ship, and actually the front quarter, I would say, of the ship, underneath the front turret and towards the bow, which has surprised me every single time. I've done it 3 times with the curve first against another curve first, and I've done it with the Montana just once. But you know, you can do it, you just have to have the right spot and the right angle, blah blah blah. Now, the Kurfürst again can sometimes surprise with the long range accuracy. I'm finding the hiccups here, so I apologize, but you know, the Montana has incredible long range accuracy, but it's still really good in the mid range, and is incredibly dangerous but incredibly vulnerable at close range. So that there is a give and take there, which is, you know, pretty interesting, and that's a great double strike. But the Yamato is horrendous up close because I mean, if it can fire, that's great, but it is so vulnerable because of the shit armor as far as the side is concerned, and a number of glaring weak points with it. And the turret traverse is just awful. So it cannot manage a fight against multiple ships if they get into the right position, of course. The Kurfürst doesn't really matter. It'll take on everybody. The Montana, pretty much going to be in the same position as the Yamato, but it's more likely, well, I guess it's equally likely that they would survive or die, you know. But that was a hell of a salvo there against the enemy Montana at 22 plus kilometers, but I wanted to help these destroyers out that went into B, because I just really didn't want to go around B and then try to come back into it and miss out on the whole match. So I make the mistake here of slowing down. I should have been full tilt here, because I know the pain is coming now that the smoke is dissipating. So I'm going to hold off and not repair this fire, because I have no idea what's going to happen. I just know it's going to hurt. But I have some more smoke coming here. And we're going to look at this Iowa. Hey, there's a bad guy. Alright, let's take a look at him, as we have shells incoming from that Montana on the right. You can see him right up there in the air. And there goes 41,000 health. Shit. But I'm alive, I can repair a little bit, and I'm in smoke. So might as well utilize that the best I can. And it's US smoke, so that's even better. But, yeah, the Yamato has extreme accuracy at long range. I'm not sure if you guys have ever seen like a 32, 34 kilometer shot with that, but it's absolutely insane. Like if you run the accuracy module, the range module, and you use the the spotter plate, completely excessive. But my god, is it amazing when you nail a target at 30 kilometers. There's no way they can see it coming, you know? It's astonishing. And it's also amazing because that means that they were going in a straight line for like 18 seconds. But when, you know, when you're in that close quarters issue, or that range with the Yamato, if it's pointing its guns at you, you're going to feel it. You know, it's going to overmatch whatever the hell it wants, save for the bow armor of some of the German battleships. But that's it. You know, I mean, the Yamato doesn't really have much strengths aside from that. It's trolly, but I don't think it's the be-all, end-all of battleships. But I don't think the Kurfürst nor the Montana are either. They have their differences, and that's why I really don't want to see this Citadel drop come into play. I think it's fine the way it is. I think the Missouri, the Iowa would be better suited for it. You know, the Montana has had a lot of buffs as far as its speed, and you gotta remember, this is a big-ass battleship, and it's fast. Okay, maybe not fast like the Missouri, the Iowa, the Gneisenau. Holy shit, that thing is actually really quick. But for the size, yeah, it's definitely a fast ship. But, you know, I think it's just fine the way it is. And I really don't think that people are going to play this in an aggressive manner. For somebody like me, it's going to be great, because I play this in a very aggressive manner. But for the people that don't, or who don't know how to manage incoming damage, who don't know how to get themselves out of situations, it's not going to change anything. In fact, I imagine it's only going to make things worse, because they're going to have an overabundance of confidence, kind of like the Alabama players, which I figure this is how it's all going to play out. So the Alabama lowered Citadel. Alabama's tend to go broadside a lot more often because they can get away with it, or they think they can. You Citadel them, they wonder what the hell. Well, pretty much the same thing's going to happen when you're talking about the Montana, the Iowa, the Missouri, right? And I just think that once people get a hold of it, it's actually going to be more detrimental, because people are either A, going to be broadside all the time and get wrecked, or B, they're going to be so aggressive that they're just essentially throwing their ship away as fast as possible. I certainly hope that's not the case. I hope things only become more interesting. But I don't think it's pessimistic or cynical to say, or to expect that. So, yeah. But anyways, this is proving to be a pretty damn solid match. So I'm still around the same health that I was when I got nuked in the middle of the map, and I've done a fair bit more damage, you could say. Now, I'm gonna be doing a few things here in retrospect that I see it now. I understand a lot of what I'm doing incorrectly. I definitely could have done more damage to that Essex, but that was mostly RNG related. That was just shitty dispersion, but I could have aimed that a little better. I really need to shoot at Essex, those carriers a little bit more often. I don't really get that chance very frequently, but you could see something brewing here. There's a Bismarck and 2 Montanas right ahead of me. I am the front line of defense here, and what I should be doing if I want to play this super smart is cut to the left, bring my turrets over to starboard, and cut to the left, use the island, and basically go around that, get these guys out in front of it, let my destroyers and other ships that are around here throw some fire downrange and try to hit these guys, and you know, basically ride this to the victory via points, because we have a considerable lead. But I'm not going to do that, because there's a Bismarck right there. Throw my shots down on him and cut in as fast as I possibly can as shells come in from the Montana and the Bismarck. I nailed the shit out of that dude, so that felt great. But now there's the other Montana right there. Now what I should be doing is bringing my turrets to the right. I'm not doing that at all, and this is going to be a problem in just a second. But I'm expecting this lead Montana to ram me, and I cut out far too much to the left, and I am lucky as hell because those shells were way far behind, and then I 67k that Montana. And I'm going to show you this again in just a second, but you can see the turret mismanagement here. My turrets are almost pretty much in the same damn spot as they were before, and I can't manage a shot on this guy before the timer ends. Well, damn it, I could have had my first 300,000 damage game, and it would have ended with just an awesome double strike. But you can see I pulled way too far to the left here in anticipation of that ram, but I just messed that up. But he fired way too far behind me, which increased the angle, and he did not shoot at me properly at all. And you can see my drop right there, and that dispersion, because I run the dispersion module, I don't think that guy did. Yeah, but it would have been amazing to take out the other one as well right at the same time there. Missed opportunities, man. But I have redone and redone and redone the Hindenburg overview, and I will be trying to get that up for the next video, and I'm hoping that goes well. I'm doing a few things different with that, but you know, 3,000 base XP for that match, and my second highest damage match, period. But I look forward to reading your comments, and thank you for watching today. Hopefully I'll see you back here, or obviously in the stream, and I'll see you next time, guys. Take care.